Okay, let's unpack this. We're about to dive into a fascinating real-world riddle from history. It really makes you question human nature and power.
Mm.
Imagine two totally different stories of survival on deserted islands. First, you've got the Dutch ship Batavia. It shipwrecked back in 1629 off the Australian coast.
Right.
And on this place, Beacon Island, this terrifying story unfolded. Hundreds were abandoned, and over 100 were murdered, all under the command of this one cruel officer, Cornelis.
Yeah, it's horrific. He basically took over through sheer terror, didn't he? Getting rid of rivals, even executing children.
Exactly. While he's parading around in fine silks he'd salvaged, it was just this hierarchy of horror.
And what's truly astonishing, though, is how that grim tale contrasts so sharply with another one, much more hopeful, from 1965.
Ah, the Tongan boys.
Yeah, 6 Tongan teenagers, really. They got stranded on this remote island, Ada, after their fishing boat was lost.
15 months they were there.
15, and they didn't descend into brutality. Instead, they survived through incredible cooperation, ingenuity, just genuine care for each other.
That's it. These two stories, these desert island tales, they really lay bare the central puzzle we're trying to untangle today. Why does power seem to lead to such wildly different outcomes? Are we, as humans, just doomed to be exploited by bad apples? Or is it the bad hierarchies, the systems themselves, that corrupt even good people?
And crucially, what does this all mean for you listening right now? In your own life, your workplace, maybe even your community.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really dig into a single, comprehensive text that explores these questions deeply. It pulls insights from history, psychology, biology, even animal behavior, which is fascinating.
Right.
We want to pull out the key nuggets, the big ideas, to help you understand why power can corrupt, or maybe why it attracts the corruptible, or why sometimes it's just about flawed systems constraining people.
Okay, so let's go back to those core contrasts again. The Batavia versus Ada. After the Batavia wreck, Cornelis, who was just a merchant, not even high-ranking military,
Right.
he regained authority. And not because he was the strongest, but because the ship's existing rigid hierarchy, based on rank and obedience, it basically survived the shipwreck.
So the structure was still there.
Exactly. He used that ingrained structure to exert control, sent potential rivals off on, suicide missions looking for water, executed others on flimsy excuses.
This is chilling.
By the time rescue finally showed up, over 100 innocent people were dead, all on his orders. It's just this awful example of a toxic system feeding itself.
And then you have Ada, the complete opposite. These Tongan boys facing extreme hardship. Mind you, they created a truly flat, egalitarian society.
How did they manage that?
Well, they worked together, nonstop, finding food, seabirds, coconuts, fish, even tortoises. They kept a fire going continuously for over a year. Everyone took shifts.
Oh.
And when one boy broke his leg, they didn't abandon him. They cared for him meticulously for months, using traditional Tongan splinting methods until he healed.
Incredible. What about disagreements? Surely they argued.
Oh, sure. But their method was simple. They'd just separate for a day or two, let tempers cool, then they'd come back together and collaborate again. No power struggle, just shared responsibility.
Here's where it gets really interesting then. These two stories are like a mirror, aren't they? Reflecting these vastly different possibilities for how we behave under pressure. But why the difference?
Well, one compelling idea explored in the text is that power simply corrupts.
The classic explanation.
Exactly. Think about Mark Ravalomanana, Madagascar's dairy baron president. Amazing rags to riches story. Became president, initially did good things, roads, fighting corruption, the economy grew.
Sounds promising.
Yeah, but after about 6 years, something shifted. He used $60 million of state money for his own presidential jet.
60 million. Wow.
And allegedly rigged his re-election by exiling opponents, closing airports. It really looks like the power he gained changed him for the worse. That example really raises the fundamental question. Was Ravalomanana bad from the start? Or did wielding power transform him? The famous Stanford prison experiment tried to get at this.
Right, Zimbardo's experiment.
Yeah, for all its controversy, its initial finding was that ordinary people could become cruel when put in positions of authority, like the guards.
But it's controversial, you said.
Hugely.
Yeah.
We now know not all guards were abusive. Some participants later said they were sort of performing for the researchers. And maybe crucially, the original recruitment ad asked for people interested in a psychological study of prison life.
Ah, so that might have attracted a certain type of person already?
Exactly. It hints that situations can bring out dark behaviors, but it's more nuanced than just power corrupts everyone.
And that nuance leads right into the second big idea, doesn't it? That power might not just corrupt, but it might also attract the corruptible.
Precisely. The self-selection problem.
Like with the Stanford ad.
Yeah, that recruitment bias suggests maybe certain individuals actively seek out roles where they can exert control. We see this really clearly in a fascinating study comparing civil servants in India and Denmark.
Okay.
In India, where, let's be frank, the civil service has a reputation for corruption, students who cheated or behaved dishonestly before were more likely to want to join it.
Wow.
But in Denmark, with its clean, transparent system, honest students were drawn to civil service careers. It really paints a picture. Corrupt systems can attract corrupt people, and honest systems attract honest ones.
That makes so much sense. And you see it elsewhere too, right?
Absolutely. Think about Helen King, former assistant commissioner of the Met Police in London. She openly warned that policing as a career can be attractive to bullies, bigots, or sexual predators.
That's a sobering thought for police recruitment.
It is. It's a real challenge. But there's hope. Look at New Zealand's police force. They tackled this head-on with their helper recruitment campaign.
The helper campaign, what did they do?
Instead of ads focusing on, chasing criminals or being tough,
Yeah, the usual stuff.
their ads emphasized compassion. Officers helping a malnourished kid, rescuing a lost dog. Simple acts of kindness.
And did it work?
Dramatically.
Yeah.
Applications from women and minorities shot up. It made their force much more representative, more community-focused. It shows you can actively shape who's drawn to these jobs.
It's not just police forces either, is it? Even something like homeowners associations.
Yes, exactly. The text mentions Roger Torres' experience in Arizona. His community HOA was pretty apathetic. Nobody really cared. Until this guy, Martin McFife, took over.
Uh-oh.
Total control freak. Started ruling through petty fines, trash bins 2 feet from the curb, that kind of thing. The tyranny of the trivial.
Yeah.
It perfectly shows how a lack of engagement in these small hierarchies attracts people hungry for control.
So it's not just that power corrupts, but certain kinds of people are drawn to it in the first place.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this deep dive shows our evolution has shaped our relationship with power. We have tendencies towards hierarchy, sure, but also these unique capacities for cooperation and fairness.
Like in chimpanzees, doesn't Frans de Waal's work show they have politics too?
It does. Among chimps, leadership isn't just brute strength. It involves building alliances, sharing resources, suggests some deep primate roots. But what makes us different? What gives us that glimmer of hope, like the Tongan boys?
Our brains.
Possibly. Catherine Pollard discovered HR1, this human-accelerated region in our DNA. It's like a supercharger for brain development. It points to our unique cognitive abilities.
And that allows for more cooperation, like Michael Tomasello's toddler study.
That's a great example. 3-year-olds willingly sharing rewards after working together. It suggests this innate human cooperation instinct evolved. Makes us, fundamentally, maybe more Tongan teenagers than Batavian murderers.
That's a nice way to put it.
And there was another huge evolutionary shift. Accurate throwing. Homo erectus, maybe 2 million years ago. Think about the Clacton spear.
How did throwing change things?
It severed the ancient link between power and just physical size. Suddenly, a smaller, clever person with a projectile weapon could take down a bigger, stronger one. David versus Goliath, right?
Right.
This led to a flattening of hierarchies compared to other primates. For hundreds of thousands of years, hunter-gatherer societies were remarkably egalitarian.
Actively suppressed dominance.
Yeah, using things like reverse dominance hierarchies. The famous example is insulting the meat,
Yeah.
criticizing a successful hunter's catch to stop anyone getting too big for their boots.
Ah, interesting. But their homicide rates were still fairly high.
Around 2%, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to great apes, actually. Much higher than modern states.
Okay, so then came the agricultural revolution, war and peas, as the text calls it.
Right. Farming meant food surpluses, which supported larger populations, but also created inequality for the first time. People started hoarding. Shockingly, average human height actually decreased during this period.
Really? Why?
Probably poorer nutrition for the masses, disease, and denser settlements. Anyway, these surpluses in populations led to complex, hierarchical societies, tribes, chiefdoms, states, and with more people and stuff to fight over, conflict surged.
So hierarchy equals Violence, basically.
Well, here's the paradox. Modern states, they're the most hierarchical structures ever, yet they have the lowest homicide rates in history, globally around 0.7%, down to maybe 0.05% in places like Japan or Norway.
Wow, that's a huge drop.
It is. It strongly suggests hierarchy itself isn't inherently evil. It's the form, the design that matters hugely. We're definitely not doomed to the Batavia's fate.
Okay, so if the structure matters, how do we end up with bad leaders in potentially good structures? Is it how we choose them?
That's a big part of it. Think about signaling theory.
Signaling, like animals.
Exactly. Springboks starting jumping high to show predators they're fit and not worth chasing. It's an honest signal. Saves energy for both.
And humans do this.
Constantly. Big houses, Rolexes, designer clothes, they're costly signals of wealth or status. Even, drug dealers with flashy hubcaps or historical potlatch ceremonies where chiefs destroyed wealth to show how much they had.
Signals of power.
But these signals can change meaning. Tan skin used to mean manual labor, now it means leisure. Or they diminish when easily faked machine lace versus handmade tanning beds.
Okay, I see. And this relates to leadership how?
Well, it contributes to what the text calls the white guy in a tie problem.
Right, the visuals.
Yeah. Mitch Moxley's experience in China, being hired as a foreign prop just for credibility, shows how crucial appearances or face can be. And the stats. Fortune 500 CEOs. Overwhelmingly white men. More CEOs named John than all Asian and Latino CEOs combined.
That's stark.
Trevor Phillips calls it the snowy peaks and vanilla boys problem. That lack of diversity at the top. It actively deters talented women and minorities from even trying.
So our brains are stuck in the past.
In many ways, yes. It's an evolutionary mismatch. Our brains evolved for the savannah, craving sugar, fearing spider stuff that made sense then but causes problems now. And it affects leader selection.
How so?
We still instinctively prioritize physical appearance, even when it's irrelevant. Plato saw this, the ship of fools captain, tall and strong but useless. Mark Van Voogt's Savannah hypothesis suggests we prefer leaders who look like good warriors, especially in crises, regardless of their actual skills for, say, managing a modern economy.
So we pick the strong-looking candidate.
Often, yes. These biases mean even when highly qualified people are right there, our gut might steer us towards someone less capable who just looks the part of that ancestral leader. Studies show it. Female lab manager applicants rated lower than identical males. Our fixation on height. Remember King Friedrich Wilhelm I and his Potsdam giants? Pointless in modern war, Napoleon beat them. Even babyfaceness affects judgments in court.
Babyfaces seem less guilty.
Apparently. And names matter, too. Identical resumes, but Lakeisha or Jamal get fewer callbacks than Emily or Greg. These biases are deep and really impact who gets power.
It's pretty unsettling to think we might act differently in different circumstances. Which brings us to another big idea. Bad systems spit out bad leaders.
That's a powerful line from the text. The study on UN diplomats' parking tickets in New York is a classic example.
Remind me of that one.
Diplomats from countries known for corruption racked up hundreds of unpaid tickets. No consequences, right? But the key finding, even diplomats from clean countries, like Sweden or Norway, started parking illegally more the longer they stayed in NYC.
So the system, or lack of it, changed their behavior.
Exactly. It shows how the environment, the lack of enforcement, influenced them over time. You even see tourists from clean countries trying to bribe Chilean police, just assuming the system must be corrupt there.
Wow. Systems have a powerful pull.
And it's not just humans. The text points to bee and wasp hives. The physical structure of the hive determines worker corruption. Melipona bees are way greedier about becoming queens because their queen larvae look just like worker larvae, hard to police. Honeybees have distinct queen cells, easier to control. The system design causes the behavior difference.
That's fascinating. Applies to humans, too. Like King Leopold.
Absolutely. Leopold II's brutal rule in the Congo Free State, millions killed for profit, while he maintained this benevolent image back in Belgium. It highlights psychological distance.
Training.
Feeling detached socially, spatially, temporally makes it easier to harm others. Those Congolese people were far away, abstract, easier to exploit.
So leaders in broken systems face awful choices.
That's exactly the term the text uses. Think of Paul Bremer in Iraq.
Yeah.
Inherited chaos, had to make decisions shutting down newspapers, inciting violence, choosing which hospital got power first that he probably wouldn't make in a stable system. Or Thai Prime Minister facing massive protests in a coup-prone country. His crackdown led to deaths. Horrible. But his later stand against the junta suggests he wasn't just inherently corrupt. The system forced his dirty hands.
So it's not always people turning bad, but systems making them do bad things.
Or sometimes people just get better at being bad within a bad system. Eric Allison, the British career criminal, he claimed he didn't become a worse person, he just got better at burglary fraud.
He honed his skills.
Exactly. Dictators do it too. They innovate in corruption, moving from crude ballot stuffing to sophisticated rigging. And we tend to fall for the fundamental attribution error.
Which is?
We judge others harshly for behavior we excuse in ourselves. Their bad act is a character flaw. Our same bad act was due to circumstances. Think Dr. Powell at Memorial Hospital during Hurricane Katrina. Awful choices, administering lethal doses in an impossible, broken system. Tragic.
And Bernie Madoff. His Ponzi scheme went on for decades.
Because nobody looked too closely. Victims were happy getting returns. He had personal links to the SEC. Whistleblowers were ignored. A total failure of scrutiny allowed a bad system, or at least a bad actor within it, to flourish.
Okay, this is all quite sobering. But if systems are often the problem, what can we actually do? The text offers solutions, right?
It does. It offers a clear roadmap. Lesson 1. Actively recruit incorruptible people and screen out the corruptible ones.
Like the New Zealand police example.
Precisely. Contrast Stebbins, Alaska, where literally every cop got convicted of domestic violence because they can't find anybody else, with New Zealand's Helper campaign. Focusing on compassion broadened their applicant pool, got more diverse candidates, more women, more minorities.
So change how you recruit. Avoid those outdated QWERTY practices.
Exactly. Like the old keyboard layout, we stick with recruitment methods that embed bias, even when better ways exist. Carnegie Mellon's computer science department is a great example. They revamped their approach, and female enrollment jumped from 7% to 42%.
Wow. Okay. What else?
Lesson 2. Exploit collective intelligence and randomness. Remember Francis Walton's ox weight guessing contest?
Vaguely.
1906 fair. Hundreds guessed the weight of an ox. The median guess the middle one was exactly the ox's actual weight. The wisdom of crowds.
So how do you use that?
Through things like sortition. Basically using random selection like a lottery to put citizens in positions of authority, citizen assemblies, shadow boards. It neutralizes hidden agendas, encourages sensible solutions, puts pressure on elected officials too.
Interesting. Randomness in government. Okay, what about oversight?
Crucial. Lesson 7. Watched people are nice people. Think about ancient trial by ordeal, boiling water, hot iron. It worked not because God intervened,
but because people believed God was watching.
Exactly. The big gods hypothesis. Divine surveillance filled a power vacuum, fostered trust. Even subtle cues work today, eyes on an honesty box, triple payments.
So more watching.
But watch the right people. Lesson 8. Focus oversight on the controllers, not the controlled. Bentham's Panopticon prison designed the central tower. Inmates never know if they're watched is the model for modern workplace surveillance.
Keystroke monitoring, ID badges.
Yeah. But the text argues constant surveillance of average folks is dystopian. Focus it on those in power. Because white-collar crime costs society way, way more than street crime.
Okay, so watch the powerful, like that journalist, Annis.
Annis Army-Oranashis, the Ghanaian undercover journalist. His disguises are legendary, even a human-sized rock. He exposes corrupt judges, soccer officials. His anonymity means anyone could be watching the powerful. It flips the script.
Technology helps here too.
Immensely. India's I Paid a Bribe website maps corruption hotspots. Bangalore's electronic driving tests cut bribery dramatically just by being transparent and recorded.
Right, makes sense.
And Lesson 9 builds on this. Exploit randomness to maximize deterrence while minimizing intrusion. Election monitoring can just displace fraud, right? Like whack-a-mole.
So you randomly deploy observers.
Exactly. The NYPD did this with randomized integrity tests, planting fake drugs or cash. It deterred thousands because officers perceived a high chance being watched, even if actual tests were rare. Target those in key positions.
Okay, that's a lot on systems. What about the individuals? Does power actually change us biologically?
There's evidence it might. Dacher-Keltner's power approach and inhibition theory suggests the powerful lose inhibitions, impulsive eating, affairs, driving badly.
The Prius drivers in the crosswalk study.
Yeah, wealthy drivers, especially in status eco-cars like Priuses, were often the worst at yielding to pedestrians. Now, we need to be careful with the weird problem in psychology. Over-reliance on Western, educated, industrialized, rich, democratic subjects.
Right, doesn't always generalize.
True, but other studies are suggestive. Michael Mader's macaque study found high-status monkeys took less cocaine. Maybe power offers some resilience.
Huh. What about stress? Isn't being CEO super stressful?
Biologically. Maybe not. The Whitehall 2 study of British civil servants found high demand, High-control jobs weren't necessarily physiologically stressful. What we call stress might just be intensity or passion.
But what about baboons? Didn't Sapolsky find alpha males were stressed?
Yes. Jenny Tung and Robert Sapolsky found high-ranking baboons aged faster, and alphas had high stress during power struggles. Maybe the safest, healthiest spot is actually being the beta.
Okay, so it's complicated, but are there ways to counteract potential negative effects on leaders?
Definitely. Constant, meaningful reminders of responsibility seem key. Tony Blair said the formal letters of last resort for nuclear war were less impactful than visiting troops on the front line that gave him a real responsibility effect.
Connecting with real people.
Exactly. Ken Feinberg, managing the 9/11 Victim Fund, found meeting grieving families debilitating, but essential for making those tough financial calls. Cornell William Brooks felt the heavy burden of representing the NAACP constantly. It grounds you.
Unlike the Good Samaritan study.
Right. Divinity students, about to preach on the Good Samaritan, walked right past someone needing help because they were told they were late. Knowing what's right isn't the same as doing it under pressure or when disconnected.
That's psychological distance again?
Crucial.
Yeah.
John Yoo, the Bush lawyer justifying enhanced interrogation, seemed detached discussing waterboarding. It was abstract to him. The ladybug experiment is chilling people. Killed more ladybugs in a machine when they were further away from it. Distance makes harm easier.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive this has been. From shipwrecks and Tongan teenagers to chimps, HOAs, and brain science, it's clear power is just deeply complex, contradictory even.
It really is. It can corrupt, it can attract the corruptible. Its effects are shaped so much by the systems we build. It needs constant, careful thought and scrutiny.
Yeah.
But the central message from this text, I think, is ultimately one of hope. We are doomed to a world of abusive leadership. It's not inevitable.
That's good to hear.
With real effort, with the right reforms recruiting better, using collective intelligence, watching the powerful, emphasizing responsibility, we can swing that pendulum. We can move towards a society where power and integrity actually go hand in hand.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. If, as this text powerfully suggests, our human desire not to be ruled by others is actually stronger than our desire to rule, what kind of totally new systems could we create? Systems that genuinely empower everyone, not just those few at the top.
That's definitely something to mull over.